Welcome to the Dinner Net with Mark and Meg, the only restaurant podcast in Seattle that hasn't opened a Bellevue location.
Today on the podcast, we have Chef Lisa B, who does the Ba+Me pop-up, as well as the new Family Meal Supper Club. What's up, Lisa? Lisa's taking a picture of me right now.
Hi, Meg. Hi, Mark. I had to do a quick video because you guys look so cool. It feels unreal.
We're extremely
to see you
cool.
guys, like in this essence.
That's a good point. We are very cool.
Yeah, you guys are very cool. And it felt like when I listened to it, I was like, oh my God, I'm listening to radio hosts right now. And I'm in front of radio hosts. You guys have smooth voices.
Thank you so much. I'm not trying to do that right now.
Mark is a vocalist, so that's probably why.
Well, so are
my
you.
God.
I'm a karaoke vocalist. Lisa, how was your weekend?
My weekend was wild. I guess like the whole entire week, I'm just trying to recover. I've had like a lot of stuff that I've been doing. So I'm doing a little thing for Woody's, which is dope. I'm like really excited about that.
Oh, cool. Are you doing a burger?
Yeah, I'm
for
doing
Lil Woody's.
a chicken Sammy.
Nice.
I'm really stoked.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, I don't know what the details are. Like, can I say it? Can I not? I don't know.
All right.
People have been saying their burgers.
Okay, cool. I don't know.
Because Karina is doing one and Jose Garzon's doing one.
Yes. So I am doing one. It'll be based off of the Lunar New Year.
Love it.
So it's the Bantek burger. It's a chicken sandwich with pickled mustard greens, mung bean paste, like my own chili oil in the aioli. And then we have a lemongrass, lightly, almost like a tempura fry, like not completely, but like a light rice flour fry, like a batter. So it's just like a really thin, crisp, with some sticky rice cakes that are traditionally in the bantek. Like the bantek is a cylindrical rice cake filled with mung beans and marinated pork belly. And it's steamed in banana leaves. And typically you either eat it steamed or fried with pickling. But I thought it'd be cool to have this sticky rice like as a fried little patty top of your chicken.
Burger.
Yeah, in the
that's
burger.
great.
Oh, that sounds so fucking dope. I want it.
It's going to be crazy.
When is your burger premiering at Lil Woody's?
I think the 21st
of January.
Yeah, so it's mad close.
Sweet. Mad close. Love it.
Yeah.
Mad close.
Mark, how was your weekend?
My weekend was great. I went to Portland, a little
Heard
weekend
of it.
trip.
I've heard of Portland.
Yeah,
It's new.
Yeah, I went to see a rock show. And,
What show?
it was a band that I'm now blanking on, which is
embarrassing
unbelievable.
for you.
It's because when I'm in Portland, I am excited to eat.
You're a different person.
Their
I was
food
going to
is so
say,
good
in
did you eat anything in Portland?
Yeah, we'll get to that in Thanks I Ate It, right?
Oh, yeah.
True. No one asked me, but
What about you, Meg?
my weekend
I was just about to say, we had to like pause for theatrical senses.
I went to the silliest dive bar in Tacoma, which is called the Tipsy Tomato, which sounds like a place where like ladies who lunch go.
That's cute.
But in fact, it is a shit-ass dive bar with pool tables and skee ball.
Oh my God.
And it is dirty. And they do meat bingo where they go to Fred Meyer and buy a bunch of meat and then you play bingo and win it. Anyway, they do weird pizzas and they have a section called Debatables on the pizza menu. And they have like Chinese barbecue pork. They have cashews. They have raviolis. You can get a SpaghettiOs base on your pizza.
What?
You can put brie on the pizza. There's a bunch of weird shit that you can put on your pizza. And it's not like, especially, it's Cisco Foods, right?
Oh my God.
It's just wacky. You can get
I kinda
Funyuns.
love it.
You can get almonds. You can get Funyuns. You can get water chestnuts and roast beef. It's a very strange place. So we got a Chinese barbecue pork, cashew, and roasted garlic in a calzone.
Why does it sound like my teenage self being like,
Right?
I'm going to open a bar and this is what I want? It sounds
like
beautiful.
It's like teenagers open it. I love it. And no
indulgent.
shade because it's super fun.
Yeah.
Is it a stoner food energy in there, or are they just being like real wacky?
It is when we're there because my boyfriend's a giant stoner. Yeah, it is. Yeah, and everyone's pretty lit up when you get there, or when you get there at 11 p.m. to eat a calzone, which is what we did.
The meat bingo, that's like two
I'm
of my
gonna
favorite
go.
things.
I'm
Okay,
gonna go.
I need to go with you
Let's all go.
because I do get competitive with bingo though. So
Let's all go.
Just let you know.
Fantastic. All right, Lisa, well, let's talk about how you got your start. I mean, you moved to Seattle not too long ago, right? When did you arrive?
Almost a year and a half ago. So this June, 2025 will be my second year here. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's been a wild ride.
We met you like 5 minutes after you landed, and you were already doing pop-ups at Donna's. We met you at Donna's, and you were like, "Oh, I just moved here like a second ago," and you were already hit the ground running. It was amazing.
Yeah, I have a great ability to stalk people. I think that's really what helps me in this industry. And I really love the the old school culture of cold calling everyone.
Nice.
And just
Okay.
like really putting it into the universe what you want.
Yeah.
Because if you don't ask, you won't get fed, right?
So what was your process? You know, you knew you were going to move here and you wanted to build connections. So what did you do? Like, what was your
Why
first
did you
step?
move here?
Yeah, I moved here because my husband, he finished med school.
Okay.
And we're both in the medical field at that point. So I was a paramedic
Right.
for Clayton County Fire
In Atlanta.
in Atlanta and Clayco. So if you're ever in Clayco, they got great wings there.
I thought you were going to say, and you get injured.
It's like the wing capital. You will get injured.
If you choke on a wing.
Dude, station
Call all
one,
your friends.
I was in like the worst station in a sense where like we all got really close because of all the trauma bonding because it was
Okay.
like the worst station you could be at. You would like never sleep.
Okay.
But guess that's kind of what made our relationship strong
Okay.
because he went through medical school.
Sure.
And so we're both like never at home and like just hugging our pets with the 5 seconds that we have and then going back to work. So
Okay.
yeah, so he got accepted into Seattle for a residency.
Great.
And so at that point, I was like, I'm either going to be part of Seattle Fire at some point or really jump in and fully do my pop-up, which I did in between my 24-hour shifts in Atlanta. So after I do my 24, I would like go grocery shopping. In between my calls, I would do my prep list and like write down what I need. And then I'd take like a 30-minute nap in my car in the parking lot. And then I'd go grocery shopping.
That's
Man,
wild.
You are hardcore.
I am a nightmare to myself and myself only. Like
Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
it is. I think I
A
hate
delight
myself.
to all, a nightmare to yourself.
I am. Like, I'm a nightmare to myself. And I thought, you know, at this point, like, it's not sustainable to work 24 hours and like do this every single time, which I did. I just like oversaturated myself to prove the concept. And I did in Atlanta. And then so coming to Seattle, I was like, I might as well prove myself again if I'm going to do it and like work in the restaurant fully as I'm doing my pop-up. And so I would stock the Seattle pop-ups. That's how I met Edgar. I like DM'd him. I was like, hey.
That's Edgar D'Souza who does Seattle Pop-Ups
Yeah.
IG.
Yeah.
I was like,
Essential
you're so
follow.
cool. Yeah. I'm like,
He's
how
marvelous.
do I do this? And he's like, oh, I'll help you. And then I
Really?
saw,
Edgar helped set you up?
Edgar helped set me up.
What a hero.
Jose Garzon did a Q&A on his Instagram one time. I checked out a live and it was like, this is how you could do pop-ups. And he was like, if you need help, go ahead and DM me. I was like, don't ask me twice. I'm DMing you right now.
Yeah.
And
He's so fabulous.
they both helped me greatly. Like, Edgar set me up with Austin at Rose Temple and at Donna's.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what really helped me flourish here.
Cool.
Yeah,
Great.
it's crazy.
And so you have a day gig as well, cooking, yeah?
Yeah, I work at Sopan as a
In
lead
Greenwood.
cook there right now. So
Cool.
it's been fun.
And you've done pop-ups at Sopon as well, yeah?
Yeah, at their parties, I do a pop-up once in a while.
Cool.
And I go random places throughout the city,
Yeah.
especially places I don't know, like Bothell. And I'm like, why not? Let's go to Bothell.
Why not? Hey, Mark, know anything about Bothell?
Yeah, that is where I grew up,
Capital?
actually.
Mark is a child of
Why
Bothell.
not? Really? That's beautiful.
Where did you pop up in Bothell?
In Chef Tanya's Tanantha, Chef Tanantha macarons
Okay.
in downtown Bothell.
Okay.
It's actually a really cute space. She creates these like really creative characters out of macarons.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And
Do
she
you know
made
about
like
this
a
place, Mark?
everything bagel macaron, which is wild.
Wow.
Everything bagel.
An everything bagel macaron. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I would like that. Is it sweet or is it savory?
It's like interesting. I think it's an interesting concept to do savory.
Yeah, definitely.
But I don't want the buttercream. But I like their sesame one though. So she's really creative. She's always like, she lets her guests say what they kind of want.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, you want me to do everything bagel? Why not? I'll try
Yeah,
it.
sure, why not?
She's adventurous. I love it.
Open-minded.
When you were saying the buttercream, I thought to myself, yeah, I think I would want it to be more like a cream cheese thing. And then I realized, my brain is turning it into a bagel.
Yeah.
I'm just making it
Yeah.
into like an actual just bagel.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah.
It
she's
is
so
sort of a
creative with
tiny
it.
bagel if you think
Yeah.
about it.
Like a light crispy bagel.
A little floaty thing.
Like delicate bagel.
So where are you popping up next, by the way? With Ba+Me.
Yeah, with Ba+Me, I am popping up in. Sorry, my brain's buffering because like I'm still recovering.
buffering.
But my next one is in Mixed Pantry.
Oh, great. In Belltown.
Yeah, in Belltown with the amazing Willy Wonka of Asian pantry items, aka Talk.
Okay.
Yeah, on February 2nd.
Okay.
And Lumineer, which is a candle shop in Roosevelt
Okay.
with the organization Rain or Shine. So we got a lot of
You
Lunar
are-
New Year stuff.
You are all over the map.
Yeah, too much. I should slow down. I need to
Probably
stop
slow
drinking
down. You
coffee.
should probably slow down.
Yeah.
And then you've got your family meal supper
Yeah.
club, which starts on Sunday. Yeah.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Family Meal Supper Club is this Sunday,
Yeah.
and it's a dope thing that Monica and I created.
Monica is the GM at Stefan.
Yes.
Monica Mitchell.
Monica Mitchell. She is so multidisciplinary. She's
Yes.
like a florist.
She's a florist.
She's a florist, wedding photographer,
Yeah.
like artist, tattoo. She's like everything.
She's a tattoo artist?
Yeah, she tattooed
What?
it. She tattooed like a flower or something on her. She tattooed something on herself, and I'm like, there's no way.
What?
Like she does everything. Like one time she came up to me and was like, look at my nails. And it's like this nail art that's like super intricate. Like she is
like,
an artist through and through. She even does like all our
Incredible.
family meals half the time. Like when I'm
Money.
exhausted,
And she's a
she'll make like
photographer, yeah.
butter mochi, and then she's like organizing
She's like
wedding
an actual
photography
goddess.
while she's doing this GM stuff. She's like a monster. I love
Not
her.
that it's here or there. She's also like the most beautiful woman in the world.
Oh my God, she is. Like, she is beautiful. Every time
She
she's
can
like,
do
I
everything.
feel so ugly today. I'm like, you literally look
Stop it.
like if I put 30 minutes into my routine, stop it. She's
I don't
the
normally
worst.
comment on people's appearances,
No,
but
she's gorge.
how can you do all of those things?
Yeah.
And so it's I don't want to call it a pop-up. It's family meal dinner
Yeah.
with Alex Doros from Siembra, yeah?
Yes. So we're trying to do this collaborative chef thing. I feel like in Atlanta, that's what we used to do a lot, which was have these like big dinners and collaborate with a bunch of chefs. Sometimes we would even have like up to 6-8 chefs at a time making
Incredible.
a dish. And we don't have that a lot in Seattle, I feel.
No,
and if we
definitely
do,
not.
it's like thematic. And I feel like sometimes when you do thematic things, it takes away from the chef's abilities of like what they start on.
Yeah, they kind of feel pigeonholed in that way.
Yeah, pigeonholed. So as cool as those concepts are, I think that the Family Meal Supper Club kind of brings a more intimate, like perspective of what these chefs do and why they do it. But then we also try to highlight like POC or local ceramicists or brands.
Right.
So
It's not just food.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I just don't want people to just think of Malden salt all the time. I want them to try Jacobson salt, or like, how about try this local spice blend from this chef? Or even like, you love Amaros and you drink all these typical Amaros you'd find in a grocery store. Why not try Senzafine?
Yeah.
And
Oh, I
I
love
You know, I
Senzafine.
love Oh my God, they are lovebirds.
They're the cutest.
Yeah, they're this-
insane lovebirds.
yeah.
Like, not only are their products marvelous,
Yeah.
they are adorable. If
Yeah.
you guys haven't been to the Senzafine tasting room in Interbay on Thursdays, Fridays, it is just a darling experience.
Yeah.
Joey and Gillian are so cool. And I
so
want
sweet.
people to meet the makers too.
Yeah.
So I want them to dine in, and that's what they're doing this
Yeah.
Sunday. And I want people to try Senzafine
Perfect.
Yeah.
at the dinner table. And then they're like, oh, wow, this is so good.
Yeah.
Let me buy this. And then they see the makers and they can ask whatever questions.
Totally.
Yeah,
It
it's
makes
real
it so
creative
cooler.
stuff.
Yeah.
They're darlings.
Well, Lisa,
Yeah.
who are you as a chef? What do you do and why do you do it?
Yeah. I am Lisa B. I'm a Vietnamese American chef. My parents, I'm like the oldest child of refugees that came here in the 90s. My mom was pregnant with me when she came to Massachusetts thinking it was California, which is such a shocker.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah, so,
They're different.
very different.
Yeah.
I was like born in Dorchester. I was like raised in Dorchester for a little bit of my life, then in East Point, Georgia, and Hateville, Georgia. And that's kind of just like the dynamic of what I bring with the Vietnamese food, because my parents are Southern Vietnamese.
Right.
So you get Southern Vietnamese food. But at times, I want to integrate my Vietnamese American perspective, because I find that a lot of Vietnamese Americans now, they're kind of like lost and sometimes shameful of being lost or not Vietnamese enough or American enough. And I really want people to embrace being Vietnamese American, whether it's a perspective from the Midwest or from the South or from the East Coast or
Right.
West Coast. So I kind of try to bring that through comfort food.
Sure.
And it's comfort food from a McGriddle, right? Where
Sure.
my mom used to yell at me in the car and be like, I'd be like, Mom, it's church. Like, hey, accomplished church, can I get a nugget? And she's like, no. And I'm like, please. And she's like, you got that McDonald's money?
I wrote that down. One of Lisa's items at the Ba+Me pop-up is called "You Got McDonald's Money, Sammy."
Yeah, yeah.
And it's like a McGriddle, right?
It's
but
a McGriddle.
It's a Viet McGriddle with
Yeah.
pork sausage and Thai basil and a
Yes.
palm sugar pancake and American
Yes.
cheese and an egg.
Yeah. It's,
Recreating it your own style.
Yeah. It's like what I used to like beg my mom for. She'd be like,
Genius.
you can't have this. And then it's such a universal thing, because a lot of people I would talk to, they'd be like, oh yeah, my mom would hate bringing us to McDonald's. Like that's only a treat for like Easter Sunday or something.
Would your mom like your version of the McDonald's?
She probably wouldn't.
Sammy?
My mom's like every other Vietnamese parent where they won't tell you if they're truly satisfied with anything.
Oh yeah.
But like maybe if it's a certain amount of silence and you like look into their eyes, maybe you'll see a sparkle. Maybe that's like some sort of achievement.
You said you didn't make it, somebody else make it. She might say.
Like maybe she'll like approve it then. Like it just depends. My parents are very finicky people, but I guess like I don't do it to make my parents proud, but ultimately it's for their legacy in a sense, because this is like my parents just did not find value in Vietnamese food in a sense. Like they would make it at home. Yeah, they would make it at home. My mom would make this like ginger chicken, or she'd make this pho, or, you know, like this dill turmeric dish.
Yeah.
But I would be like, Mom, this is so good. You should sell it. And she's like, no, I would never. Cause like nobody would appreciate it. Like it's like she would talk about how, you know, European food is where the money's at, which is true to a degree. And so
we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah. And like my mom, when I told her I would do the pop-up, she's like, oh, no one's going to come. No one's going to buy it.
Rude.
Yeah. And I totally understand where she's coming from.
I know.
You know, and my dad too, they're like, that's a lot of money and that's a lot of work. Honestly, if you do anything in life, it's going to be a lot of work regardless.
Right.
I'm so glad you did it, despite that.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about your menus is that it's at-home food that, you know, I grew up in Seattle and there's plenty of Vietnamese culture here. Yeah. But your recipes are not recipes that I can normally get at a Vietnamese restaurant in Seattle.
Yes, it's home style. I want people to really, I say cousins all the time on Instagram, and it's not like we're going to be like super family, like, but I really do want people to feel like they shouldn't be embarrassed to sit at the table. I want them to feel open. You know, I want them to feel like if I mispronounce this food, am I still Vietnamese, or am I allowed as like a white person to like say this? And I'm like, yeah, you can. Like, relax, just enjoy the journey, because it's just tough to gatekeep the food. And I really want people to feel like sitting at the table. I'd love a diner feel. Yeah. You know, in Atlanta, you would get that diner feel. Somebody
fewer
would
of them
call you,
here these days,
right?
There used to be more.
Babe.
There used to be them here, and they call you babe and sweetheart.
Yeah, they call you babe and sweetheart. They remember that you want 2 pancakes and eggs over easy with 1 sausage link. You know, there's something really heartwarming about that. Yeah, and having that in a Vietnamese diner aspect or Vietnamese Southern aspect is very different. Like they overextend a hand for you, and I really want people to feel that when they're at my pop-up.
Yeah. Can you tell us about another dish that you love to make that really expresses that intention?
For sure. Like caramelized catfish. It is such an indulgent dish. Like catfish, you gotta dig at 3 a.m. to get this freaking fish. You know what I mean? Like my friends used to go catfish mudding.
I watch those videos where people take like cat food or Coca-Cola or something.
Yeah, they're
pour it in the hole.
That's kind of how I'm able to emerge from everything. Like, get me something sugary, and I will pop out of my mud-driven bed, and I will come out and hang out with you. Yeah, like I'm a catfish. Yeah. It's a fatty fish. It's rich. Yeah. You know, we do it with the catfish steak, which is not normal. People want to be babied with fillets. Like, let's grow up here. Let's eat fish with bones and spines. Like, we know what fish is. Like, they have a vertebrae. Just
you don't need a tendy. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need to turn everything into chicken tender.
A dinosaur nugget.
Right. Like, let's get off the dinosaur nuggets and grow up. All right.
Thank you.
Like, let's stop with just regular pickles. Let's go for pickled mustard. Let's eat our greens, guys. Like, we really need some more fiber in this country. Like,
it's true.
You know, and the caramelization is in a clay pot, or just slow cooked for like a couple of hours, and it's so tender. It falls off, and it's just a great dish. That's one of my favorites.
I have to add that on my best things I ate in 2023 list, I included what I like to call the chickeny ding dong, which is your pot pie filled with yellow chicken Viet curry.
Yes.
That thing, I could fill my pockets with it. I wanted to walk around the city and just sort of double fist these beautiful little handheld pot pies. They were so amazing.
I need someone to film that. I would really love to watch that journey.
Like a crew. We can all just walk down the street. I think about that thing all the time.
Thank you. Yeah, I love that.
What is the actual name of that item?
Yeah, it's actually an integrated item. That's like me being, I guess, Viet American in a sense, where I love mini pies, but it's also like a version of pâté so. Okay. Pâté so is like a French Vietnamese dish where it's puff pastry. You get pâté in the center, marinated ground pork, and onions. And that's really all it is. It's a very simple dish, but sometimes I feel like you kind of want a little bit more flavor. So that's why the lemongrass chicken curry, madras curry, goes in there. You get like little potatoes and starches, and that's kind of just me meshing 2 dishes together.
Cool. Genius. Brilliant.
Oh, thank you.
Marco, do you want to do the news?
Let's do some news.
You got any news?
Yeah, I mean,
Anything
we've got
happening in that skull of yours?
Yeah, well, it is still that sort of time of the year where we get a lot of closings.
Yeah,
and
top of the year.
Yeah, the first item we have today is Good Day Donuts in White Center has closed down.
No.
That's sort of a temporary thing though, because
really?
it was owned by Eric Jackson and Allison Odowski. Eric Jackson comes from the real sort of like higher end restaurant world. He cooked at Dahlia Lounge, Spur Gastropub back in the day.
Oh, back in the day.
And then he was cooking at Vendemmia
man.
and started Good Day in 2018 to kind of get out of the chef hustle.
Oh,
That's White Center, right?
Yeah, it's
I
in
love
White
that.
Center.
Okay.
They have decided to sell the business and they found a buyer. So Good Day will be opening up again under new ownership. It sort of remains to be seen what they'll keep, what they'll change. That's always a question. But so that's on the horizon.
Cool.
That will be opening again.
Not as normally devastating if they come back, yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a hiatus.
I on their Instagram for their last post, the former owners of Good Day posted the Kendrick Lamar "Not Like Us" track. A little bit of a reference.
that's
to
hilarious.
Topical.
Yeah, new owner is going to be different. So we'll see. So there's something to hope for there.
That's great. I have a little news, which is that my friend Derek's, which is Detroit Style Pizza, is opening their brick and mortar this week on the 15th.
Nice.
They're going to be in Tangletown. They're originally like the part of Fremont that's over by Hanyatu and Kamonegi, but now they're going to be in Tangletown, across the street from the Tangletown pub. I'm stoked. I know there's a ton of pizza in Seattle right now, but Detroit Style, like a good Detroit Style, is really elusive, I think.
Yeah.
So they're going to have a 40-seat dine-in and takeout pub. They're doing, of course, the deep dish focaccia-esque style
that sounds
Detroit
good.
slice. And people would line up. They'd sold out constantly, and I haven't even gotten to taste it.
I have
before.
not. Yeah,
Yeah.
me either. It's you got to be on it.
Yeah.
Or you had to be on it, and so
Yeah.
hopefully this will be an example of this being a little bit more accessible and able to be had.
Yeah, you had to wait a
love
month
that.
before, and I don't. Lord knows, I do not wait a month for a piece of pizza.
Whoa.
Everybody
Kinda like
knows that about
Moto.
me. You
Yeah.
heard me rant about
crazy.
waiting 3 months for Moto.
That's wild.
Not that, fair fucks to them for making good pizza that people want. I'm not mad
Yeah,
about that.
yeah,
but
absolutely.
I'll finally get to try it now.
Yeah,
Nice.
exactly.
I'm excited.
All right, another closing is Plum Bistro and Plum Chopped.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, that's an institution
Yeah.
up on 12th Avenue. McKinney Howell has decided to focus on a tofu company that she's starting up.
Yeah, right. Charles
fun.
Modere did a video interview on The Stranger with her about that, and it was
cool.
interesting. Went to the tofu factory.
Oh,
It was
a whole
like 6
factory.
months ago, maybe. Yeah, it was
right.
interesting.
Yeah, it's
What
gonna
kind
be
of tofu?
She describes it as a spiced vegetable protein. So I don't know that she has a specific style in mind.
Maybe it's all kinds.
But yeah, it
sounds
might be something that she's kind of developed herself.
Let's find out.
It's called Makini's.
Oh,
That is her name.
Yeah,
that's cute.
exactly.
Cool.
Another news item that just dropped is Bigfoot Longs is saying goodbye to Seattle.
no.
They're
Yeah.
returning to Georgia, I read.
Yep,
Aye,
exactly. He put out a video on Instagram. That's Jeffrey Red.
No more foot-long hot dogs.
Yeah, you have till the end of January
Okay.
To get a
All right.
foot-long hot dog.
I want it.
He's going to be he has been at the Wash every Mondays. He's not
Yeah.
going to be there this Monday.
The
But
Wash is FK, the Rose Temple, if anybody doesn't know that.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And then also Revolver Bar on Fridays in the evening.
We should go load up. on
We
foot-long
should,
hot
yeah.
dogs.
He has mentioned that he's been pretty slow,
Yeah.
lately. So let's all go and sell him out in his
Let's
last.
all go.
His
Who are
last
we
stint
quoting
here.
when we say let's all go?
I think we're. I
Sounds
think,
familiar.
I think we're quoting you, Meg. I think is
That's
that
my old catchphrase from the old
catchphrase.
podcast. Let's all go.
I love that.
And my
Let's all
current
go.
catchphrase.
That's
Lisa,
so funny.
do you have a catchphrase?
I don't, but I think I do say the word gorge a little bit too much.
Gorge.
Yeah,
Like,
okay.
yeah, like while I was like doing cooking videos for Homemade,
Yeah.
the video editor John would be like, gorge.
Yeah.
Gorge. And I'm
Right,
like, dang,
Lisa?
I do
Gorge,
say
that's
it
what
a-
you
I do
say.
say it a lot. Yeah,
Love
that's
it.
a
We
filler
don't
word for
choose
me.
our own catchphrases. They just sort of pour out of us.
Yeah, they choose you.
Yeah. Do you have more?
It's
Do
true.
you have more news, Meg?
Who wants to know? Yes, I do. Watson's closed down, of course, which we know. Watson's Counter, heartbreakingly, but Migaku has, I think, already opened up.
Nice.
Oh, that was fast.
Yeah, very
That's
fast.
quick.
They're doing Japanese kaiseki in the same spot. It's high end. It's between $170 and $300 a pop,
That's valid.
which I get because that's a
expensive.
pricey spot for sure.
It is very pricey. I looked at
Yeah.
it at one point.
Oh, did you really?
Out of curiosity, yeah, because I popped up there, and honestly, like Watson's is such a like dream restaurant
For sure. Yeah.
They have like 2 walk-ins. They
Yeah.
have a huge dish pit.
Yeah.
They have like
They have a
counter
bar area,
service.
yeah.
They have a bar area.
Yeah.
Like there's so many things.
We're
you could
speaking
do.
about it as though it's still there.
I know, but it's
Aw.
just like such a great
Yeah.
spot. Like that is a restaurant owner. I would say like maybe as a novice, it's such a huge space. You
Yeah.
can sit 30 people. The parking's
enormous.
accessible.
Yeah.
Like maybe you take a bus there. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
But it's expensive.
Yeah, I bet.
It's like about 10 grand
Yeah. That sounds
a
about right.
month.
Yeah.
So yeah,
For
I'm so glad
Ballard.
they charged
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, and for a space I think doesn't really have foot traffic and kind of
No.
needs to be
Yeah.
real destination based.
It has
So
to.
they're doing
Yeah.
And they
kaiseki,
do
and
wine.
there isn't much kaiseki in that neighborhood, in that part of Ballard. So
Yeah.
I hope they do well.
Yeah.
All right. Last news item: Ginger and Scallion has switched to a cow soy focused menu
Hell
from
yeah.
their Kamungai focused
Yes.
menu.
Yes.
That's
yes.
wild.
Yes.
So I am excited about this.
Yeah.
It's still
Um,
cow soy weather because it's cold.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's always cow soy weather personally.
Yeah.
It's 100 degrees outside.
Yeah, even then, I think it's really cool for 2 reasons. I just kind of love the idea that they've been doing this very focused menu for a year, and now we're going to do a different very focused menu.
Yeah.
And I kind of hope they keep that rolling. Like
Yeah.
maybe next year they switch to something else that they're really focused on.
That's very like night market where each stall only serves one dish.
Yeah.
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 So they're soft open right now, and their menu includes cow soy iterations with braised beef, one with a beef tenderloin, one with lamb leg, Meg.
Oh, I love
Hell yeah.
lamb.
What am
We
I?
are-
I'm the lamb leg lady.
Well, we all are, right?
Yes, dude.
Lamb
we're all lamb
leg.
leg ladies.
Lamb neck
Yeah.
is insane.
Any kind of lamb.
Yeah.
Lamb neck is incredible.
It's
We
so
had
fatty.
lamb neck at Corello.
Oh, yeah,
that
and it
was
had,
just
like,
bonkers good.
It had like a habanero date chutney
Yeah.
on it. It was
Ooh,
nuts.
what? I love the way they pivot. I
Yeah.
gotta say, the people that are behind Secret Kanji
Yeah.
and behind Ginger and Scallion,
Yeah.
the bravery they have to pivot is really cool because it's
Yeah.
hard to do that as a business. But
Yeah.
they're kind of like, well,
Check
why
it out.
not?
Yeah.
I don't even want to do this anymore. Instead of like, like we'll do it another time if we
I love
really
it.
want to.
It's whimsical.
But
Yeah.
that really takes a lot to change your whole menu, change the back of house on that,
Yeah.
and really stick by it. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
What does it take for you to build and change out your pop-up menus? Because you don't
Yeah.
keep the same pop-up menu every
Yeah,
week.
I don't. That's the beauty of the whimsy of a pop up because I don't have like a super prep list for a bunch of people to do. So it's not something they're used to. Me, myself, and I, the 3 prep people, are constantly changing with creativity of whether it's like trying new Vietnamese dishes somewhere and being like, oh, let's do this, or what did my grandma make like 15 years ago that my mom tried to replicate and
Right.
hated it, you know? So it doesn't take much for me,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but for a physical restaurant, it's a lot because you're creating a habit for people.
And
And then
teaching
the-
the staff too.
You're teaching the staff, and then the next
Yeah.
day you're like, let's change this. Let's slowly start transitioning. And people are of habit and they
Yeah.
hate to change.
Sure. Yeah, you
So
take away their
really-
favorite. And
Yeah, you really got, and then it's like you're challenging people too. So
and
it's
then
like
your
a really
your
tough thing.
customers too. Yeah. May
Yeah,
or may
and
not
your
like the new thing.
customers.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, shall we pivot to our roundtable discussion?
I think we
Yeah.
should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I hope people saw this article because it's a really important one that showed up in The Stranger. It was written by Michael Wong of Asian Verified fame on Instagram.
Hilarious, dude.
Very
And
funny guy.
It was about why aren't people willing to pay more for Asian food? And the points he was making, I think, really focused on Vietnamese food and
Sure.
about how if you try to charge $20 for pho, people get upset, and it's a major point of resistance, and that juxtaposes against more European cuisines like Italian food, where you can see a plate of pasta for $30. Now, just speaking as someone of Italian ancestry,
Are you Italian?
I am myself a little bit blanche at $30 pasta if it's very simple.
Yeah.
You know, like a straight
Depends
up.
on, it has lamb in it or
Like a
something, you know.
Right? Yeah. Like,
If-
what are the ingredients?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a range.
But the point, be that as it may, you can do it. You can survive as an Italian restaurant and charge really what you want.
There's
like
got to
what
be
you
30 Italian restaurants in town that
exactly
charge that.
exactly,
Yeah.
and that is not true of a Vietnamese restaurant. And I
Yeah.
think Michael Wong captured that very
Yeah.
astutely.
He talked to the folks at Anchovies and Salt, and he talked to the Secret Kanji folks as well. And they explained it. And there has been sort of. Do you have opinions? Did you read the article?
I love anything Michael Wong. I gotta
Yeah.
say, I'm a
Big fan.
super fan of that dude. He's
Yeah.
so friggin' funny with
Yes.
his dad cams.
Yeah.
But like the article, I like that he's getting down and dirty and really speaking about this
Yeah.
because I remember a few months back I saw that TikTok of that reviewer and how
Oh, yeah.
outraged they were. That's
So-
what sparked it.
He was referencing a TikToker who came into Anchovies and Salt
Yeah.
and basically ripped it in the video, right? I actually didn't see this video, so can
Yeah.
you maybe tell us what it
Yeah, from
his
what I
point was?
recall, like it's been a while, but from what I recall, she is an influencer who came into dine, and you know, every time a restaurant is hyped for something, people are already kind of like
They're all ready.
negative
They're
on
ready to
it.
fight.
You know
Yeah.
what I
it-
mean?
it's what I call the selfie stick mafia.
Yeah.
They descend the
Instead of
influencers
tiki
just-
torches, they're
Yeah.
selfie sticks.
Like and you know, anchovies and salt is a really hard sell, and people got to understand like I like what anchovies and salt is doing because they're standing 10 toes down on business of how much it really costs to run a restaurant, to own
Right.
something spectacular. Like having something on the waterfront is not freaking cheap, and when you pay for that experience, for that Instagram picture. It's
And
expensive,
for the meal, yeah.
and it's expensive. And then not only that, in the video, she was saying how they forgot something. It took a while, and I think it was during their soft opening. So they got to
man.
understand that when you're going to a new restaurant, double check if it's a soft opening. If you're not prepared for a lot
Yeah.
of mistakes, then
It's
just
not
don't
time to
go.
make a video.
Yeah, it's not time to
Save
make
your
a video.
Save your article. Yeah.
That-
Yeah,
that's-
yeah.
That sort of economy of being first, to press basically is really distorted in social media now. Now you got to
Yeah.
be, I just saw that place open. I'm gonna just bring
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
selfie
And
stick
they're-
in with my video and
Sure.
It frustrates me because they just lose the context of you're a guest. They're inviting you in
Yeah.
and they're brand new and they're just like, we think we're ready. Like
Yeah.
it's a soft opening. Come be our guest.
Yeah.
And you're in there to rip them to pieces.
Yeah.
And
It
for some
frustrates
people who
me.
like don't know what a soft opening is, like soft opening is you're open, you're ready for service, you're throwing out the kinks, you're like making sure your staff's ready, you're ready, whatever your recipes, like are you able to execute? Like it's one thing to really do that. It's tough before you feel like you're official.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so you're gonna have those kinks. You're gonna have like probably an incorrect bill
Yeah.
or like
That's
something.
the point. So
soggy.
that you
That's
can
the
find,
point.
so that the problems can rise to surface.
Exactly.
Literally,
And you
it's all
don't-
about practice.
You don't have someone with a camera crew recording all of your mistakes
Yeah.
and crying about them.
She was super outraged, and she was talking about the prices, which honestly, there are some things like if your family is able to do it, you shouldn't look at it from that perspective of it being cheap or expensive. You know what I mean? I think
Yes.
they were looking at it from that point of view,
Yeah.
and like
Then don't go.
then
It's not for
kinda
you.
tough. Like
It's not for you then.
you know, they're doing upscale, they're doing fine dining versions of
Yeah.
these comfort foods. And it's not going to be the same. It's going to be different techniques. Some
Yeah.
of these techniques take a lot of labor.
Yeah.
Like, when you have something like a fish collar, drying in your walk-in, or
Yeah.
you're like having segmented oranges, those things take a lot of time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the key point was that we have somehow codified Vietnamese food as cheap eats.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
and
Because we're used to Ton Brothers and a free
Sure.
cream pie.
yeah, this sort of
Yeah.
early immigrants showed up and needed to entice people to try it.
And
Yeah.
people didn't
and-
reach further than that. They're like, great, that is all Vietnamese food. It's pho.
Yeah.
It's the pho that's $3.75 back in 2005, and then they didn't progress beyond that.
Yeah, honestly, it's also kind of tough. It's like a double-edged sword. Like you're coming into a new country, you're trying to get someone to try your food, and if
Right.
it's not naturally appetizing, you got to do it through expense, right? You're making it cheap.
Of course.
And then that's what people did. And then I think as Vietnamese people were kind of like, it's hard for us to ask for more,
Yeah.
or we're in the habit of kind of people pleasing in a sense.
Sure.
Where we're like, should we ask for more? And it's like, charge however much the economy is making you really have to spend. You got to charge.
Absolutely.
And not only that, it's like, you know, Italians have been here for like 150 years. Since like the 1880s.
Yeah, Mark's been here for
19 or 1920s, like around that range was like the first wave. We're still kind of early. We're like
definitely 70s.
Like we got here around the 70s, 75-ish, at least for Seattle. That was our first wave. And so we're basically almost only 50 years.
Right.
So Italians got the chance to kind of have the pizza.
Right.
And then I'm sure people got outraged by the pasta at some point in time,
sure they
right?
did.
Yeah.
And
then,
now they're like, now it's haute cuisine, but for some reason they don't think Vietnamese food is.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll be luxurious in 100 years, and like shrimp paste will be a luxury as it is with oil here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was so, as it always is, annoying to see comments on the article.
The comments were a clown show.
Yeah, tell me the
both
comments.
on IG
I'm ready.
and on The Stranger.
Well, people, I think, you know, obviously I don't know the identity of the commenters, but I'm gonna guess several of them look like me. And one thing that was kind of coming up again and again was, get off this racism thing. It's not racist.
We're not racist.
About
we're just cheap.
what about Ba+Me? We'll go to Ba+Me and they
what about
succeed and they can
Monsoon?
charge more. And
Yeah.
what about Monsoon? And you know, to me, that's like saying, well, what about Jackie Robinson? He played baseball in 1949, and there wasn't a problem. And it isn't really even so much about overt racism the way people tend to think of it. It is the idea of should.
Yeah.
And what something should cost, because people were kind of proving the point of the article in the same
They could not hear
rant.
themselves. It was fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean, these people are saying it, and then they'll say, you know, I will never pay $20
That
for
was
pho.
so funny to me because that's what it's going to cost. Like, then you don't get any pho because it's about to cost $20. It's like saying, I'll never pay $5 a gallon for gas. Oh no, I need some gas. What am I going to do? That's what it costs.
Yeah.
Like, guess you're not going anywhere. Like,
Literally.
I don't know. We're not going back to 2005. You have to.
Yeah.
Or you just don't get to eat it. Like,
Exactly.
that's the world. Sorry.
So what is that battle like for you, Lisa, when you're building out your menu and trying to kind of figure out like what can I do? How do I extend this? How do I deal with it?
I don't know. I feel like for me, I'm just a naturally combative person. I'm just naturally like,
Nice.
like you're telling me not to go here, I'm probably going to go there.
Now you have
You're
to.
telling me not to press the button, I'll probably press the button. And that's like a bad habit I've had for years. But I think it's really just like, I remember one time I told my mom I wanted to do dim sum because I got really stoned one time. I was like, I want to do dim sum. Just like, that's really stupid. And I was like, what about chicken feet? Like, I want to get them to eat chicken feet. She's like, they will not eat chicken feet. I'm like, congee with century egg. She's like, absolutely not. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do this anyways.
Now you have to show her.
Yeah, and I think it's easier for me with an American perspective. And as a pop-up, I have time to educate. So I get to talk to my new people and be like, this century egg is like deviled egg.
Yeah.
So it's relatable. It's more familiar. If you're a chicken wing eater, I could be like, if you like the skin on chicken wings, it's just the skin on chicken feet.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah, it's just
So
skin.
I can relate. I can educate.
Sure.
But most restaurants don't have the time, the energy for it. So I understand why they're fighting it.
Especially in a supper club where you're meeting, you're having an intimate setting and meeting with folks and chatting with them and giving a preamble and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
like
can
the
educate them.
Vietnamese restaurants, they're really more about wanting to live that slow life in a sense where like the mom and pops just want to open up their shop, sell their food and make a living and go home. That's really their goal.
Yeah.
So they don't really have time to be like, hey, we're going to do this oxtail pho.
Right.
This is why you should eat it. Like, because they don't have the service members to do that. Usually
Sure.
their service members are like, what do the people need? Get it and go. Like, let's flip this table so that way we can make our mark, which is they're still in survival mode and it's hard.
Sure.
When you're in survival mode for generations on generations to get out of that kind of trauma of being in that generational thing. Even so, like when you were speaking about like the racism, it may not be racist in a sense where like, oh, what about Monsoon? Oh, what about PST? What about these spaces? These spaces are in areas that people can afford that. And
Right.
that's the unfortunate thing. And they had
Exactly.
to migrate over there and people don't get that. It's like the city is putting so much money into these areas right? Like, and they're not putting a dime in Chinatown, and that's why it
Right.
has the amount of crime they have. Like, I mean, Chef Tanya from Jumin is like struggling so hard to keep that business up. Even Hello Am, as a coffee joint, a roastery, is having a tough time.
Yeah.
Because they don't want their employees to get stabbed like 8 times. They
Yeah,
don't
no
want them
kidding.
to ride the bus and get
kidding.
stabbed. And like no one's putting any money into the infrastructure, and these people are getting fined for graffiti on their restaurant. Like, how is someone
How can they
supposed to
control
survive?
that? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a real tough thing, the graffiti cleaning requirement. Yeah, there's just a lot of things that end up being expensive as a
Yeah.
business owner and hard to resolve because you're sort of put on the spot for it.
Is that it? Is there more?
Is that our
I want to
roundtable?
complain more about the commenters, but I
Yeah.
maybe shouldn't. And
I mean, honestly, people just
the tone deafness. Like,
Yeah.
I would never eat that. Like, nobody asked you to eat it.
Yeah.
Then don't. Like, it's
Yeah.
not for you. I think about that a lot when people are like, I don't like this thing, or I didn't think it was good. Then maybe it's not for you. Maybe you're not the target demo, like, guy who. A lot of times people will comment, especially on newspapers, like on the Seattle Times or whatever, and you'll look at their profile and they live in like Snohomish. Like, they don't even go to the city. They don't dine out.
Yeah.
They're not spending their money. And then they chime in to let you know that they don't like something. And it's like, you're not the target demo. It was never for you. So we're not worried about pleasing you, you know? Like,
for sure.
keep it to yourself, man.
I hate to I think it's Cardi B. I hate to quote Cardi B, but it's almost like
Please do.
People got way too comfortable with saying whatever the hell they wanted to say
Yeah,
on the
right.
internet without getting punched. Like,
No
if you
kidding.
said this in the street, you would definitely get whooped. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, but when we
Totally.
do meet some of these people who are so bold, like, they don't say it in person.
No, they want to type it.
At all.
They
One
wanna
time
type it.
I even had like a guest while I was at this bar, and I was doing a pop-up, and there was like a health inspector in the middle of my rush. So I just didn't have time.
Yeah.
And so I was like burning stuff, and I was like trying to deal with this health inspector at the same time. And these people posted, they were like, yeah, we're waiting for like 40 minutes for this food. We heard so much about Ba+Me. Like, let's see if it's even worth it at all. And I'm like, and I literally know who it was, because I'm like, I see who's the ticket. I see who
For
the
sure.
ticket is.
That is always funny.
You know, and
Like,
I finally
who
get
it
to
is.
them, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm so sorry. There's a health inspector. They had a lot of questions, like, your food burned and I had to do it again. Here's your food. And then 2 hours later, they're like, oh, okay, it was good. And I'm like, you could have told me
was
that.
it?
Like, I
Yeah.
could have given you a discount. You could have been like, hey, that food was like a long time. I know you had a health inspector, but I'd like a discount. I would have totally done it.
Yeah.
But they didn't have the boldness to actually tell me, like, dude, that took too long.
Do you think that's a Pacific Northwestern phenomenon? Were you running into that in Atlanta, or is it just everybody does that? They hide
That was
behind the
a one
internet.
time.
Okay.
That was a one time in Atlanta.
Okay, it was Atlanta.
But I would say interactions with people in PNW is interesting. I feel like people value politeness and appearance more than honesty.
They don't want anyone to be mad at them in person. We're not good at
Yeah.
conflict up here. We're really not.
But see, that's the thing though. It's just like a simmering pot. Like, after
Yeah,
a while,
for
like,
sure.
it will pop, and people will.
Yeah.
Like, it'll come out regardless. So you might as well
definitely.
just say it, you know, to improve everyone. Like,
Save time.
You know, like, if you really love someone, you got to tell them what's going on that they can improve on.
For sure.
And if you don't, then you don't really love them. And that's the truth. And I'll say that as an East/Southerner.
Yeah.
That if
Sure.
you don't tell your friend or someone you like what they need to improve on, or what they're failing at, or what they're behind on, then you kind of suck, because then they're going to keep repeating this stuff, and it's
Yeah.
ingrained, and you kind of set your friend up, you know,
Yeah, right? It's
or
not nice.
business owner or whomever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a family meal supper club event coming. The one on Sunday is sold out. Yeah.
Yes.
You're
the
totally
one
sold
on
out.
Sunday is sold out.
That's great. When is the next one in February?
Probably the end of February.
Okay.
I would say follow Ba+Me Popup.
Yeah.
BAME Popup on Instagram.
Are you pairing up with the same chef, or is it a different chef?
Different chef every time.
great.
That's the
Every
goal.
time,
Is to have
nice.
a
So it's always
different
Lisa.
chef. It is. I
Yeah.
really want to kind of have fun, to challenge myself. It's a selfish thing. I
Yeah.
want to challenge myself to see how I can integrate other flavors
Okay.
without making it so fusion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's a question I have for you, actually, because
Yeah.
I think that some people read your food as fusion, and I would say that's not quite accurate.
Yeah.
And like, how do you feel about that word? Does that word annoy you? Does it trip you up?
Yeah.
What's your feeling about it?
I think with at least Ba+Me, I'll speak on the Ba+Me part, where it's not necessarily fusion, it's just like identity.
Yeah.
You know, like when I speak Vietnamese and I'm like, chúc mừng năm mới, people who are super Viet are going to be like, God, that's an atrocious accent. Like that is, you
Really?
sound so American. You're Vietkiu, which
You
is
are American.
Yeah, and it's like Vietkiu is like you're a foreigner, you're a Vietnamese foreigner, you're a Vietnamese
Oh my
person
God.
that's a foreigner essentially. You know what I mean? And that's just who I am. I can't have that accent.
Yeah.
But it is slightly fusion. I am Vietnamese American, but I'm also proud of my very Vietnamese authentic roots that I want people to have. And authenticity is different from everyone. I'm from the South, so someone from Central or North might look at my food mad crazy.
Yeah.
And that's totally okay.
Yeah.
And with the Supper Club, it is fusion. But I mean, really, it depends on what people look at. I think fusion, people, it has a bad rap because people make it so cheaply. People kind of like, I really hate like when people make Ba+Me anything. It pisses me off.
Yeah.
Because it's they never really integrate it fully as what it is. Like either honoring the pate, the butter that we make, which is like a heavy egg kind of mayo. It's like so dense that we almost call it butter.
Yeah.
You know, we
Yeah.
don't call it mayo, we call it butter.
Yeah.
And people just put on freaking Hellmann's and they're like pickled stuff, pickled daikon. They're like, here's your Ba+Me. This is not Ba+Me.
Yeah.
I will fight you in the street.
Do
if
you make
do
Ba+Me?
that. I don't for a
you're
reason. I
sick
do
of
it
it.
at home,
Yeah.
but I just really want people to be exposed to other things. Like obviously, I'm so tempted to make we have our own version of a meatball sub.
Okay.
In Vietnamese, like
Ooh.
it's called siu mai.
Yeah.
And it's like a sweeter, herbaceous meatball.
Okay.
But yeah, I would love to do it in my future deli, like once in a while. But definitely less of the classics because we already know the classics.
Sure.
So you're talking about a brick and mortar, yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Tell us about that.
One day, I really hope, maybe a year or two, I can actually sustain something where I can have a brick and mortar.
Yeah.
Because my knees aren't what they were. Jumping out that ambulance all the time was stupid. And now my ankles and my knees are run down.
Okay.
But ultimately, one side would be a full service restaurant, maybe 10 to 20 tables or something.
Okay.
And on the right side, it's a Vietnamese American deli. I want like
Cool.
pandan ding dongs, you know what I mean?
Nice.
Yeah,
Our
yeah,
hostess cupcakes. And then I want like our cinnamon sausage, our jalua. Like I actually want to have it, like in a kind of glass.
You can't get that around here,
So
can
people
you?
it by
can
the pound.
slice it, you know? Like
Amazing.
Yeah.
Vietnamese delis are really awesome, and I don't feel like people know them a lot. And
Do we have any here?
We have so many. We have a good amount here.
Yeah.
You go to Saigon Deli and ID.
Yeah.
Pretty decent.
Yeah.
Tan Tan, I believe it's called. It's right across from Lum Supermarket. That one's pretty dope.
Yeah.
But it's just like even Lum Supermarket has a deli in the corner. That's the beautiful part about Vietnamese supermarkets.
Yeah.
You have a little deli.
Yeah.
But some of the food is like kind of room temp for like hours.
Yeah.
And like
Sure.
we're
room
people
temp table,
pleasers.
yeah.
Like Vietnamese people are people pleasers. So you have like 60 items. Like what if people want this?
Yeah.
And it's like
Just in
that's like
case.
everything's dying.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, for
no,
sure.
we need to like show people what to come in for.
So
and,
would
like,
you
guide 'em.
would you also be doing full service on the
Yeah.
other side? You'd be
Yeah.
doing
Hopefully it'll be like lunch brunch.
cool.
That would be cool.
Great.
And then that'd be the deli side.
Yeah.
And then the dining side is dinner. That's the goal. But we'll see.
Can I yank you
Yeah.
back to the Supper
Sure.
Club for just
Yank
a sec?
me,
Because
please.
I know that you want to focus on people, strangers meeting each other
Yeah.
and living as you said, cousins, which I
Cousins.
love.
Yes.
What is the plan? Like, what does one expect when they show up to a family meal supper club?
Yeah. When you come into a family meal supper club, it will either be in an esthetician studio, a cafe, or an actual restaurant. Who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? Not
Whoever
me.
lets us in, like that's what it is.
Love it.
But they'll expect a really tight knit crew. Like we are a team of 5 to 7 people at most, and Moni makes these incredible cocktails that are based off of.
She makes cocktails.
I
too.
know she's so talented. She's like insanely talented. I love that woman.
Me too.
But you literally have like this time, Moni did a Peruvian cocktail.
Oh, right,
with-
because Alex is
with the
Peruvian
chocolate.
Colombian.
Yeah, Peruvian Colombian. So Peruvian Colombian flavors. Like you'll have your cocktail, you'll have local spirits. You're also gonna have, either a local ceramicist, you know, you'll see bouquets of flowers and fruit, and you sit down, you'll see some familiar faces and some strangers, and there'll be conversation cards in the center of the table.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, they're food centered. So whenever you feel bored, you can have that sip of a cocktail while looking at a card.
Or mocktail.
Or mocktail. You know, we also do those twos.
The faux cocktail, the foxtail.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to get that to catch on.
A faux cocktail. Okay, I'll use that from now on.
The foxtail.
The foxtail. So you can have a foxtail if you want. But ultimately, you guys will have conversation about local brands and like what you discover. And then you'll also talk about stuff like, what's your death row meal, you know? And maybe you guys will have hot takes. And hopefully by the end of the night, even if you guys don't make friends, I hope you guys have a memory where you're like, man, that person was crazy. Or, wow, that hot topic was wild. Or, man, that ceviche was killer. Or that pavlova I didn't know could be paired with this. And that's the goal, you know, that you actually got to talk to someone that normally you wouldn't talk to. And you wouldn't normally have this dish.
Every single month?
Every single month.
Amazing. And different locations every month?
Hopefully we could stay in one place, but like it might be different locations. Who knows?
Hit Lisa up if you have a location that you want her to pop up at.
Please, I would love you forever.
Should we do the portion of the show that we call Thanks I Ate It?
It's time for Thanks I Ate It.
What did you guys eat this week?
Ooh, who wants to start? Shall I start?
Yeah, you're the guest. You got to start.
Thank you. How chivalrous. I love Ludi's. Dude,
I love Ludi's.
Ludi's, I will wait forever. I'll wait, rain, snow, sleet, anything for Ludi's. Like Monty and I went to a store, the IKEA parody art gallery.
Yeah, store.
I wrote a story about that in Public Display.
Dope. I know, I saw it. And when we were walking by from the parking lot, because we parked mad far. Because we don't have spatial reasoning. We're like, let's park here. It's really close. We were not close. And we walked past the gallery. We're like, oh, let's go in here before we go to Ludi's.
Yeah, cool.
And it was beautiful. It was so creative.
I bought that chair that looks like a Metro bus transfer.
Dude.
So I have to pick it up this week.
People, you need to. They're cool.
It's Basecamp Studios too.
In the old Bergman Luggage Building at, is that Lenora or Stewart? Stewart, 3rd and Stewart.
I think I saw like Unit 65, I think, was one of the local ceramicists, and Nivo, who's a Vietnamese ceramicist. Like, there were some cool local artists that I was able to identify there. So that was dope.
And it's right by Ludi's.
Right by Ludi's. And Ludi's, y'all, Ludi's, I love their menu. It's so freaking hilarious.
Yeah, what's your favorite order there?
Okay, combo salad, because you get that pork chop.
You get everything.
You get the garlic longanisa, you get the sweet longanisa. Garlic rice is dope. And then you get the lumpia, which you got to have their lumpia.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, it was so cold. They were so kind. They brought us hot chocolate outside.
They're so nice.
And I was like, oh my God, how
I love
could
Greg
you?
and Rita. Rita is hilarious.
Oh my God, they're so sweet. And they gave us this mimosas and they were huge. Those mimosas will knock you out, dude. I thought I was going to fall out the chair. It was so good.
Do you know if the bar area is open yet?
I don't think so.
They have a little upstairs bar area. I don't know if they're using it yet.
Yeah, I think we are just about stalking that bar.
I know.
Dude.
So if folks don't know, Ludi's used to be 2 blocks south, 1 block?
1 block south, I think. Maybe 2.
2 blocks south.
Let's say.
And it's in the restaurant used to be called the Turf when I was a kid.
Are you serious?
And
That's
it was
wild.
probably like the one dangerous restaurant in Seattle because it was a bar and it was just a lot of stabby people who hung out there, which is fun. I would still go there. I'm not saying I didn't go. And it was sort of like a Greek breakfast diner. But its soul was a bar, was a dive bar, and then they would have diner classics as well. So
nice.
I really want the bar to open up at Ludi's because they lost the space and they moved 2 blocks north.
Maybe you'll have stabby people with an ube pancake stack.
That might be why they haven't opened up the bar. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to figure out how to not have stabby people.
How not to
know.
have stabby people?
Them. But I think I'm just joking. I think they can absolutely open up that bar and have it be a really great vibe in there.
It'd be nice.
And I will be there the second that opens.
Dude,
for sure. That's your neighborhood.
It's so good. The cocktails are good. My friend had a coffee nudge. Yeah. Like we had oxtail slog too, which is so tender, fall off the bone. And their food is just banging. And Uncle Greg is so sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I swear he was flirting with me, y'all. I don't know.
I'm sure he
Like,
was.
being charming.
Why wouldn't he?
He's being so charming. I'm like, don't do that. I'm married. He gave me a magnet and everything. Like, calling card much? Just kidding. He's really sweet though. And like the whole crew is so sweet and attentive.
Yeah.
Like you can't even help them like bust a table. They'll be like, don't touch it. They will threaten you. They will get stabby actually if you do that.
It's so true because I think normally you associate that kind of super busy brunch restaurant that's counter order. You know, you kind of think, oh, they're just kind of trying to get me through and get me out, and they're not gonna be like service oriented. They absolutely are over there.
Yeah, for sure.
It's so good.
I also love the table of Filipino sauces. There's like 20 different sauces that you can add to your Filipino breakfast.
How do you doctor up your garlic rice, or do you?
I put a little bit of the hot spicy Maggi,
Yeah.
but just a tad. Like everything else is so perfect. I really forget that it's there half the time though.
I like that coconut vinegar.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh my
pour that
God.
all over.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
What'd you guys eat?
Oh God, well,
I get the lonsilog because I like longanisa. I always get it. Or if there's a special, I'll get a special. Yeah,
The garlic one or the sweet one?
the garlic one.
Ooh, that one's good.
They're both good.
Yeah, I can't turn down that combo one. I just want it all. I want as
Yeah.
much of their food as I can get. You know?
They had butter mochi last time I was there, and I threw,
they
I
have it
threw
now,
down on the
too.
butter mochi too. Yeah,
Yeah, if you don't know about Ludi's butter mochi, that's
Better
a
find
thing
out.
you gotta get.
you
I have
better
to try their
find out.
Turon. Their Turon, they're like banana thing. I
Yeah.
haven't tried
Yeah.
that.
Oh, that's
probably
fantastic.
amazing.
Yeah, I love that.
Mark, what'd you eat?
Well, let's see. I'm going to start by talking about what I ate in Portland when I was there for the Team Dretch show, which
Oh,
is the
yeah.
band I went.
You remember?
Yes.
Good.
That's a big band to forget.
I know, right?
Embarrassing.
Really great queer core from the 90s, and they've reunited and doing their thing again.
Cool.
But, you know, this podcast is in soft open mode, so, you know.
Nice save. Good callback.
There you go.
So no one can judge us. Don't make a video.
You're back on it. I love it.
Put your selfie stick away. We're in soft open.
So I had some chicken rice at a Love Belizean, which is a Belizean restaurant, of course.
Oh my God.
And that is it was just redolent of warm spice and fall off the bone tender.
sounds great.
You can get a single or a double there, and it's just, you know, like, do you want one thigh or two? And you know, I thought, well, two, but I'm just gonna go one so I can eat more,
Yeah,
you know, throughout town.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that was great, and that ended up being a pretty big highlight of that day. And I kind of ended up wishing that I went with two pieces, but
I do too.
yeah,
I have your regrets on your behalf.
yeah. That's my first regret of 2025.
You also went to Broder Nord, you said.
I did,
I
yeah.
like that spot
I have to
in
check it
Portland.
out.
It's Scandinavian
Yeah,
brunch,
Scandinavian
but with
food.
cocktails.
Really great coffee too. They
they have
they
great
roast their
coffee.
own. What I got there, went twice.
Yeah. You went back.
yeah. So the first time I went, I got lost eggs.
Yeah.
So that's creamed spinach with poached eggs and pecorino breadcrumbs. And it's interesting because after I ordered it, I thought, did I mess up? Did I just kind of like order like a Thanksgiving food side kind of thing? That's gonna sort
Mormon
of,
food.
yeah, Mormon food. You know, and I took so much.
My partner's family is Mormon, and we went to Mormon Christmas, and that sounds like what was being
Yeah.
served.
What?
Right? Yeah. Cream
and,
sauces.
and I even chose they had a house smoked ham, which really enticed me, and so like that was what I chose as the addition to it. You could also get roasted squash. But I thought, oh no, like that's going to be like Mormon food. But it shows up and it is so redolently spiced in sort of like that Scandinavian profile where there's like a little bit of cardamom going on,
Yeah.
a little twist of just different flavors in there. And I think they had some
Dill.
pickled, so there was some dill.
Dill and cardamom.
Love dill.
Yeah, and that was
Sounds good.
fantastic.
That's
and
fun.
I like that smoked trout hash that they have at Broder Nord.
Yeah.
That's what I always get. That's how I learned to love smoked trout like 10 years ago.
That's what I went back for.
Hell yeah.
I had to have that one too. And they smoked steelhead trout in there.
I'm gonna have to
and
try it. I'm not a fan of smoked trout, but I'm gonna have to try it.
Yeah, it might
You don't have
convert
to
you.
if you don't like it.
No, but I want to. Like I do. I'm maybe too adamant about that kind of stuff. I'm like maybe.
Yeah.
I'm a different person from 10 years ago. Let me try
Maybe
it
it's
again.
time for smoke trial.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, maybe I still hate it.
Maybe.
Like, I have to figure it out. Like,
No, I get that.
You
Like,
know?
I like to test that too. Like, do I still hate this thing?
Yeah.
It's been a while since I tried. Maybe now I don't.
yeah, like bitter melon, I'll never love it. And I tried maybe a cocktail. Monty made a cocktail out of it, and
Yeah.
that's the only time I've loved bitter melon.
really?
But she macerated it, and
Yeah.
so it took away the
And
bitterness.
it had other flavors in it, I'm sure.
Yeah, so I was just like, I guess I'll never love
I
you,
wanna
but
try
I'm
that.
sorry.
Yeah.
I was at Tio Babies this week with my friend Mark DeJoy. We were
Nice.
investigating their foxtail menu. I feel like such a nerd for saying that.
they're fucked.
Because they make their own spirits, their own NA spirits in house.
Oh,
they
that's
make
cool.
NA gin and NA bourbon and things like that. So we were checking that out. We had a nice cocktail called the Winter Break with house-made orgeat and lemon and some things I forget. But we also had the Meltdown sandwich, which I think about a lot. And the Meltdown sandwich is a very tall sandwich. It's a triple-decker sandwich that's been grilled cheesified, right?
Yeah.
It's crispy and buttery.
Yeah.
And in it has like 15 things. It has. I'm going to read them to you. Your choice of adobado braised pork or soy chorizo, whatever you want. Grilled sourdough, queso, like liquid queso,
Yeah.
Swiss cheese, roasted peppers, caramelized onions, mushrooms, pickled red onion, jalapeno, cilantro, and chipotle avocado aioli. You can get it vegan, you can get it vegetarian, you can get dairy free, but it is a beautiful, ugly sandwich.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like you see it and you go, and then you try to like eat it, and it's just, it's an experience. It's sloppy. Oh man, it was so beautiful.
Yeah, it's just right sloppy, right? You can eat it, but it
I love
slops to the
that.
level where you're like, this is stuffed to the
Like, look
to
at
the
Yeah.
right
Look at
amount.
this thing. It's just messy, and it came with waffle fries.
I love a waffle fry. That would save me. Like,
And
I
you
think
can-
I would choose it just for the waffle fry.
Yeah.
Because that amount of decision would overwhelm me so much.
And you know, the plate's all like a sloppy Joe afterward, and you can scoop it up with a waffle fry.
Yeah.
Like, look, it has a piece of bread that's just sodden with all of the aioli and porky, cheesy queso. Tio Babies does a great job with queso in general.
Yeah, they do. You got to get
Yeah.
queso when you go there because it's just
They'll
it's
put it on anything.
yeah,
yeah.
Dippable queso.
chili con queso basically.
Yeah.
It's like that Texas style.
It's like Tex-Mex. Yeah.
I love Tex-Mex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Are we going to wrap it up?
Let's do it.
Yeah,
It's
I
about
guess-
the time.
I think we could. Yeah. Anything to talk about coming up next week that we already know about? Well, we got Brian O'Connor from Pop Pizza.
Yeah,
Pop-Up.
Brian does Brian opened a bunch of Michelin star restaurants in the Midwest, and now he's trying his hand at chefery, and he is making tavern style pies, which are cut grid sliced, thin crust, with lots of fancy shit on them, and they're really good. And he also makes that like crispy mortadella brioche thing that I put on my best things I ate all year
That is-
list in The
Mortadella.
Stranger, which you should read.
Yeah. So it'll be great to talk to him.
We'll chat with him.
Meg, do you have any articles coming out this week that we should be
I
looking
wrote,
for?
Yeah, it's not about food, but I wrote about how Carmina Burana is going to be performed at the Benaroya Hall via the Seattle Philharmonic, and I wrote about how it is metal as hell
Yeah.
and channels Black Sabbath and Ronnie James Dio, and why you should go.
Nice.
So I think
I'm
that's
already sold.
running pretty soon.
I'm
Yeah,
sold.
I'm going to be updating the U District map for Eater Seattle
Nice.
coming up in a few days.
Sweet.
Yes.
Publishing, and yeah, I feel like I just updated that, but it's kind of like you got to
It changes
you gotta
a lot.
move. Yeah, the
It's a swirling amalgam
moves a
out
lot.
there.
And it's a great place to eat. I will fight anyone who tries to
I
denigrate
know.
the Ave.
I'm still mad at a certain person who said that you only go to the Ave if you are a student. Otherwise, who would know there's good food there? And fucking everybody,
Yeah.
because
wrong as
yeah,
hell
that's
to say
the wrongest
that.
thing
Yeah.
I've ever heard. Name one place you added?
One place I'm going to add Schultz's.
Hell yeah.
I love Schultz's.
Schultz's is under
and-
the next gen now. The son and daughter
I love
reopened
that.
it and restyled the menu and
Yeah,
Schultz's
I mean,
sausage.
They didn't
That's
restyle the
cute.
menu in a drastic way. They just kind of tightened it up a little bit, and a lot of the same classics are there.
It's updated,
but they've cleaned up the shop a little bit, and
Yeah.
they kind of keep up with that too. Like they clean up that shop like, very periodically, like very regularly, and
Yeah.
not like it was dirty before, but they're very fastidious there
Yeah.
now.
It's
Anyway,
a beautiful spot. Anyway, that'll do it for the Dinner Night podcast. Thank you, Lisa B. Check out Ba+Me Pop-Up. Check out Family Meal Supper Club, which is already full for January, but you can go in
Yeah.
February. Read Michael Wong's story about how white people don't want to pay more money for Asian food, but they will for everything else in The
Absolutely.
Stranger. And we'll see you next week.
yeah. See you
Cheers.
next week, guys.
Bye.